Good morning to all that you decided to listen to another edition of the Morning Health Talks from EIT Health. It's organized by the EIT Health Hub from Greece with the support of EIT Health Innostars and of course other hubs like EIT Health Hub Romania. And we are going to discuss the funding of open inbound, mostly innovation from the market to the healthcare system. Focusing a lot also on the startup ecosystem, the digital transformation of the healthcare system, public procurement, and other. And we're going to see new things like the testing and experimenting facility in health, and we're going to listen from experts from hospitals and startups and digital innovation hubs, as well as the expert consultants on the digital transformation of the healthcare system. Here at the National Documentation Center, we are national contact points also for Horizon Europe Cluster 1 Health and Cancer Mission, and Dr. Sofia Xesfigi will also give you an introduction on the available opportunities that are relevant to this specific topic. And if I'm forgetting someone at some point, please forgive me. And I would just like to start quite fast and go to our risk manager, Ms. Eva Kosteska, if I'm pronouncing the last name correctly, Eva, although we've been talking for more than 6-7 years now. I'm calling you Eva. So if you want to start presenting something, a PowerPoint, or just give us an introduction on what the EIT Health, Innostars, and the RIS program and the hubs also is, the floor is yours.
Thank you, George. I have a short presentation. Thank you, and good morning again. My name is Eva Kostecka, as George introduced me, and it is my pleasure to welcome you today on behalf of EIT Health Innostars. Today's meeting, Morning Health Talk, is a part of the RIS program, which we as EIT Health Innostars are implementing across Europe with the involvement of local partners, such as National Documentation Center in Greece, to bring the regional stakeholders together and discuss relevant health innovation related topics. I will briefly talk about our organization and short two opportunities that might be also relevant for the public here today. EIT Health is a public-private partnership and one of the biggest European networks in the field of healthcare innovation. It was established in 2015 with headquarters in Munich. Currently, we have 8 offices across Europe and approximately 130 partners comprising of leading companies, universities, R&D centers, and accelerators. EIT Health works based on the concept of the so-called knowledge triangle, which means that our principle is to bring experts from business, research, and education to work together and to create the best environment for innovation. The main goal of our organization is to boost innovative solutions in the sector of health. In the Greek ecosystem, we are present through the program called Regional Innovation Scheme. RIS was created to close the gap between the regions that are leaders in innovation and those ones which are still progressing. Currently in the program, we are present in 13 countries and actively working with 14 organizations, National Documentation Center being one of them. I hope you can see the full presentation. So here are our partners. So with the aim of the program in mind, the program provides a portfolio of activities for each of our partners to provide support in healthcare innovation from different angles. So we cover such topics as business creation, education, as well as ecosystem development activities. And here are some numbers of our almost past 3 years activity in terms of how many startups and projects were supported, also with the help of the RIS hubs across Europe. So today's topic is the funding innovation in hospitals. It has gained a lot of traction in the recent years. and it centers around the idea that the hospitals can benefit from collaborating with external partners such as startups, research institutions, and other healthcare organizations. And here in EIT Health, we have also tried and managed to meet that challenge in the recent years. And one of the programs that I would like to talk about is Startups Meet Pharma and Healthcare Providers. Those are challenge-based programs, both based on the similar concept. Basically, they are two-stage programs, and in the first stage, we are looking for pharma or healthcare providers who would like to present challenge from the area that they are working in or focusing on. And then in the second stage, we open the programs to startups who would like to answer to those challenges and work with the partners in the program. We work based on the annual cycle, therefore, we do not have details regarding potential program like this that will be open next year. However, since we are currently restructuring the Greece program a bit, I'm encouraging you to contact us or George here from Greece if your institution would like to collaborate with us in the coming years and co-create the challenge-based program with startups. And the second possible opportunity that we hopefully will be able to also offer and have been able to offer in the past years is the RIS Innovation Call. And this is the proof of concept funding that offers opportunity to work on the project in a consortium up to 3 entities. One of them can be a healthcare provider. The funding is maximum up to 75,000 euro, and the project has to be delivered. The part of the project has to be delivered within a year. It also involves training and mentoring. Here, there is a bit more flexibility, but I'm sure it also fits perfectly into potential project between startups and healthcare providers. So with that being said, thank you so much for your attention. If you would like to learn more about the other opportunities, please let us know and contact us through National Documentation Center.
Thank you very much, Eva. Indeed, those are some programs that you mentioned that are relevant to what we're trying also to build through also our Symbiosis program and our collaboration also recently with ROS Diagnostics and other organizations. Of course, the clinics, the hospitals maybe can reach you and Beata and see if they can offer any challenges to your programs as well, as long as they fulfill their duties to our program.
Yes, I mean, here we do not mean to compete with the capacity building
we are
program
okay.
that is being
Bigger
run
programs,
locally.
bigger networks, we are happy with this. No problem. And well, if Carlos and Ricardo, our guests, are willing to wait a little bit, I will start with another EIT Health Hub with the Romanian EIT Health Hub from Cluj-Napoca and my good colleague and friend Ion. I visited the Cluj and it was an amazing place full of, you can feel the innovation happening there. So Ion, the floor is yours, and tell us a little bit about how you do things there and how you also support companies and give them a little bit of access to other markets.
Okay, I've been given, hello everybody. First of all, Kalimera, and thank you for the invitation. I have been given a tough challenge, which has actually made me think a lot about things. And then this is the question that I got from George. How will digital innovation hubs support the access to funding for healthcare startups on early stages? Will there be new opportunities to fund pilots? And it has given me the opportunity to reach out to our ecosystem and to talk about digital innovation hubs, the potential connection, and how we see from our experience at Freshblood the approach to such a challenge. So I have 3 points of the agenda: digital innovation hubs, healthcare organizations, and startups. And before this, I would like to introduce myself. I think I have many hats, and these are my biggest hats. I'm a medical doctor by training. I have 15 plus years of business of healthcare. I've done more than 20 launches, medical services, apps, medicines, 10 years of entrepreneurship, and 5+ years of IT and health. I'm a co-founder, innovation director of Freshblood, which is the hub, EIT Health Risk Hub for Romania. I'm teaching at the university, but I'm also a mentor, a startup investor. Actually, I'm speaking to you from Timișoara. I had this morning the chance to talk with one of the startups, part of the Track to Invest program of EIT Health, that is very valuable for the local ecosystem. So we started Freshblood 7 years ago with the mission to accelerate healthcare innovation, and we are working on 3 major pillars, which are the people, the projects, and the partnerships. And in this context, the first thing is to understand how the ecosystem is looking like, and this is the map that we are updating every year. And now the things being accelerated, we are seeing the things changing, and you will see that, for example, on this map, you have different categories that we put, not based on technology, but based on use case. And use case and journey are 2 of the words that I would like to leave with you after my presentation. And you have on the right tools for the institutions, the startups that are actually in position to collaborate with healthcare institutions mostly. And coming back to the question, the digital innovation hubs, first of all, I think it's important to understand where we stand. And Romania, it's not really a surprise. Cluj, that George has seen a couple of months back, is just one city of Romania, one of the cities that is striving to move forward. But we should see the things that, in general, especially in healthcare, you should see the things as a whole. And Romania has a lot to progress. And most of the Balkan countries are pretty much in the same area in terms of digital economy and society index. I don't know how many of you were familiar in terms of implementation of digitalization at the economy and the society level. And of course, healthcare is a big part of the society. And this is one of the slides that I was using when we founded Freshblood 7 years back. Healthcare was one of the least digitalized sector of the economy and of the society. And I think now it's probably behind even energy, because now energy is moving really fast with the apps and with the advanced systems. Healthcare took a spike on the pandemic, but now many of the things are not being deployed on a larger scale. So in this context, this proposal from the European Commission appeared, which is the Digital Innovation Hub, which is a shop. It's a shop that is aiming to support companies responding to digital challenges and become more competitive, because it's not about digitalization. It's about, like, humans don't do digital because they want to do digital. They do digital because they need a better life. Companies are going to embrace digitalization in order to become better at what they do, to be more efficient, and to be able to compete, because companies are in a market where there is a competition. And digital innovation hubs have these 4 pillars. You will see all across Europe these 4 pillars concerning innovation ecosystem and networking, support to find investments, test before invest, and skills and training. And my challenge is to connect the startups and the healthcare startups that we are aiming to support today, and the healthcare providers on these 3 dimensions. And I'm just using the European Digital Innovation Hub in Transylvania, where we are connected. And Maria from the meeting was in Transylvania, part of an event, Cluj Innovation Camp, that took place 2 weeks ago. And building the bridge between startups and healthcare providers. A few information from the Commission map. In Europe, there are 90 hubs that have a healthcare focus. In Romania, we have 6. According to my information, Greece has 2. Maybe Greece does not need so many. Maybe Romania is much bigger, or maybe we have many countries which are embedded. And in Cluj, we have 2 digital innovation hubs, because some people have a really competitive mindset. But the real challenge when you talk about digitalization is that you will need to deal with the healthcare provider. And as a medical doctor, and I'm changing position. I'm now part of a medical conference in Timișoara, and I'm meeting doctors. I have to understand their point of view, and meeting IT people, I have to understand their point of view. And I will use, of course, it's a great pleasure to talk about a Greek in a conference based in Athens. I know the guy was from Kos, but it's still a Greek guy. I do believe it's important to understand how the healthcare managers and the healthcare organizations think. And the first, primum non nocere is the Latin that we learn in school. First, do not harm. I don't know how this sounds in Greece, but this has a translation which is practical. Healthcare providers hate losing. They hate losing people, of course. They don't want to have sick people or dying people, but also they hate losing power. They hate losing ranks. They hate losing money, or they hate losing all of the above. And sometimes when you are coming with a proposal, with a digitalization or startup is coming with a proposal to help them improve their activity, you should keep in mind that you are inducing a disturbance and that they would end up potentially losing before gaining. And it's one of the mindset that you should have in mind. The second thing also, I like history. And it's very funny to compare the things. We are talking digitalization, we are talking IT, only in the last 70 years. And medicine is 5,000 years old, and engineering is 300 years. And to put things in perspective, engineering is 12 generations long, IT is 3 generations long, let's say 25 years, 1 generation, and medicine is 200 generations, which means the culture and the principles have been built a long time ago. And you should take this into account when you are coming towards the healthcare provider with your proposal that can be very innovative and very beneficial. And in many situations, this is the slide I like the most, you will be like this. Medical professionals are very busy, administration says they can manage, but the reality and the results show that they cannot. And the innovator is coming, say, look, I'm helping you now. We will do it the best we can. Okay, what can you do as a startup? You should first understand where you stand. And my theory, it's in the whole ecosystem, because we are always talking about the healthcare ecosystem, a startup has the least to lose. Everybody, as I told you, everybody hates losing, and a startup has not too much to lose. Maybe some time, maybe some funding, maybe some, I would say, opportunities, but everybody stands to lose a lot. From the patients, from the relatives, from the professionals, from the providers, from the government, from the universities, everybody has something to lose. But the startup has a major advantage. They see the reality as it is. And I like this Polish proverb, which is also part of the hub. A guest sees more in an hour than the host will see in a year. And that's my encouragement to the healthcare providers to bring a startup, because they will have a very fast and very real audit of this. Okay, so what can you do? You can use the Digital Innovation Hub infrastructure and priorities to actually build the connection. Yesterday, no, 2 days ago, I was in a conference and there was a presentation from EIT, part of the HEI, and the coordinator of the HEI program was in Timișoara, and she said something very important. Innovation is a conversation. And it's very important to have this conversation and to have a continuous conversation. And for example, the Digital Innovation Hub is putting forward the ecosystem and networking dimension. You as a startup, you should engage with the healthcare providers in order to meet them and to understand how they think. And they will not tell you from the first time. This is where we come as a hub. This is where other people are trained. They come towards you. But after you met them and you understood them, you need to understand what their problem looks like. And one of the things that people have a hard time capturing is the fact that healthcare works in journeys. And this is just the patient journey of an individual that is diagnosed with cancer. and they have to go through a lot of doctors, through a lot of spaces, through a lot of decisions. And this is complicated. And in many situations, your innovation needs to connect at one point with the journey or at several points with the journey. And you cannot make it worse. You should make it better. After you understand the journey and the challenges, the second thing is find the right people. And this is also very, very important, because you will not be able to collaborate with the healthcare provider without the right person within the healthcare providers, no matter how money you put on the table. You need to find the right people. How do you find the right people? You will see the people that either are better trained or are willing to get trained, because you have this structure of skills and training, part of the Digital Innovation Hub. It's people that are asking questions, people that are trying to use new technologies, people that are trying to, like I'm just asking in a conference, how many people have been using ChatGPT in the last month? And you will see immediately which are the doctors that you should be talking to as a startup. It's the people that are not afraid to use the latest progresses in the technology. And after you find the right people, you understand that they would be few. And this is also one chart which is very surprising. We are used to say doctors are at the tip of the science and everybody is taking the best and the last. Actually, the reality is a little bit like this. Even among doctors, innovators would be in the single digits. This is the chart which is coming from the 60s about innovation adoption and any change adoption, actually. And you will see the innovators are 2.5%, early adopters 13.5%. And then you will talk about early majority. I'm willing to bet that you as a startup will work with the innovators or with the early adopters. The rest will wait to see how this is happening. And you need to find them. And keep in mind that there are maybe 1 out of 10 or maybe 1 out of 20. Then, it's also one component of the Digital Innovation Hub, which is called test before invest. I have seen, especially in the pandemic, the telemedicine development going pretty much throwing things at the situation and hoping it will work. And at this point, you are sitting as a startup and as a healthcare provider on the same side and looking at the situation. And you need to find the right use case where your technology can actually improve the experience and the results of the healthcare provider. And this is already, you are sitting on the same time. And once this is happening, you can actually look out into the world. And this is just one example. EIT Health is more just a point of funding. It's a point of resource access. And if you are looking for resources, you have EIT Health resources. You can check on the site. We have our share of resources. It's Connect.Public Health. It's a curricula that we built on cooperation and training on innovation and entrepreneurship in health. It's an Erasmus Plus project. And once you get the training, you will be able to position your solution as a startup and to embed it in the need of the healthcare provider to attract the right investment. And it's not always about the information about the funding. Okay, information is one important step. But my question always to the startup, and I work with a lot of startups, how prepared are you to access that funding? And how is this going to put you in a better place once the funding is finished? And the best way that I recommend it is not make it your project, is make it the healthcare provider project, because they will be better motivated to make it happen. And they will be the ones asking to everybody that it might say no to a startup, but might say yes to a clinical need. And in this context, at one point, you will need to be better prepared, and you have the resources that EIT Health is providing for entrepreneurs and innovators. And then you have our own program, which is capacity building called HubVantage, where we are extending now at international level, taking startups that are at the level of scaling up and putting them in contact with the relevant healthcare professional in order to advance their project. This has been the map that has been presented already by Eva. We are very happy. We are on the same hour. That's, I think, among the hubs, we sit on the same hour. We are very happy that we can connect and see things at an international scale. And if I would drop a few conclusions, my recommendation to startups and to healthcare providers is connect with digital innovation hubs. And I'm sure Maria will tell you a bit more about what is available in Greece. It's for a startup, connect and align with healthcare providers by understanding use cases and journeys. And use EIT Health resources, use other resources that are, and accept that ideas may fail, but people just grow. Thank you very much for the invitation. Happy to answer any question or any comments.
Thank you very much, Ion, and very interesting all the suggestions you gave on how to approach the European Digital Innovation Hubs and how to leverage all the support they can offer, because, I mean, they're still developing. And we have two here, and we have Ms. Pournari here that will tell us more about the Health Hub in Greece. And I wanted to ask a last question. If you're staying, I will ask it later about the DIGA and how a Romanian company reached the German markets and the system. So if you stay, I'll ask it later. So I would like to go to one of our other guests from abroad. And in order to, I believe that the testing and experimenting facility is our keynote speaker because it's something very, very new. But Ricardo, maybe we should start with the public procurement for innovation and then go to the testing and experimenting facilities. So I would like to thank Carlos Larrañeta for coming here from Spain and Procure for Health project. And Carlos, give us some information about what are the startups and the healthcare providers and the public procurers and the public system is missing when not utilizing the public procurement for innovation and PPI. In order to, let's say, connect by technology, by innovation, by research, and be the first to adopt new novel innovations. And tell us a bit about how this is working and what you are offering to Procure for Health.
Okay, thank you very much, George, and thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to be here and showcase what we're doing from Procure for Health and, let's say, from the demand side of innovation. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Carlos Larrañeta. I work for the Regional Ministry of Health of Andalusia, specifically for the Technical Office for Public Procurement of Innovation, but I'm here because I coordinate the Procure for Health community in Europe. Let me start by saying who are we. Okay, and I think it's very interesting, the number of attendees and the members that are here, the people that is here in this webinar, in these talks, because I understand that we are all in the business of improving our health and care systems. And we are in the business, this can be done from many different faces and many different angles, but we are attacking it, addressing it from the side of adopting innovation. So I'm here representing the side of the demand, the health and social care services providers, the procurers of innovation solutions. In this slide, this is how we started. We started with 19 procurers and a number of supporting organizations, regional development agencies, and some of the most experienced in consultancy services in the topic of procurement of innovation across Europe. A year and a half ago, almost a year and a half ago, this is who we are right now. We already have more than 60 procurers on board from 22 different countries, but we also have on board supporting organizations and suppliers, innovation ecosystem, companies, research organizations, technology centers, and so on. Let me first say that when we talk about procurers, this is anything but an homogeneous group. For our procurers are as I said, providers of health and care services, organizations that provide these services. But since the landscape across Europe is, as I said, quite heterogeneous, we have under this category, we have from national ministries of health, like the Turkey ministries of health, to regional ministries of health, like ourselves, to individual hospitals, like Poland, Germany, Belgium, that is how they are organized, to even central purchasing bodies when these health organizations rely on certain purchasing bodies in order to procure whatever they need. So what is procurement of innovation? What are we doing with procurement of innovation? Okay, as I said, we want to improve our organizations, and we are going to do it through the uptake of innovative solutions to the challenges we have. But for us, uptaking innovation is procuring innovation. But we want to move, and we want to change the paradigm, moving to being reactive to what the market has to offer us. Let's say, okay, you provide a potential solution to a challenge that I might have. I might address it partially, might not even be a priority for me. So we are saying, what if instead of being reactive, I become proactive? And I tell the market, these are my needs, and these are my priorities. This is very important. If you are able to develop a solution, I will buy it. I will procure it. But we're going one step further. We are saying, if we like the solution you propose, we will not only procure the final outcome, we will also procure the final stages of its development. And we're not doing this because we're kind-hearted or we think you need, as a potential supplier, an extra motivation. You already have the motivation of having a client already for your solution. It's because we understand that procurement of innovation is the paradigm of co-creation. I mean, this is a journey that we have to cover together in order to have that solution that really, really addresses and fits our needs. So, I really, from my personal perspective, from our global perspective, I really cannot think of a better tool to use the fundings, the public resources we have to foster innovation in our organizations. We are improving the public services, and at the same time, we are fostering the innovation ecosystem around us. We all know how good it is. And the resources are out there. In Europe, public procurement accounts for around 14% of the gross domestic product, total gross domestic product of Europe. You know, if we take a look at this, you know, long-term objective of being able to reach the 3% to uptake innovation, we're talking about over 60,000 million euros per year. That's more for 1 year than for the total Horizon Europe program. So, I mean, it's not that we're spending all that much already, but the potential is there. So, but what's the deal here? The deal is that this is a complex tool that we want to implement in very complex organizations. I really cannot think of a more complex organization than healthcare systems. But this is not a complex tool conceptually. I just explained the basis of it. There's not much more to it. We don't even need any technical, it's not complex technically. We don't need fancy equipment, fancy software. It is very complex because there are a lot of actors that have to be involved from the very beginning of the journey in order to really have an impact, final impact. And as I said, this is something that has to filter through the culture of this tool, the culture of adopting innovation. And I think that the previous speaker already talked about what is the mindset of healthcare organizations. It's something that we have to deploy. So it is something that we need to work on it. And that's where we are focused from the Procure for Health community. We are focused on building our capacities, fostering cross-border cooperation in order to tackle this or to adopt this tool, because there are already plenty of individual successful cases for procurement and innovation projects across Europe, mostly local or regional, but those are in absolute number. In relative number, compared to any other innovation tool we have, is very underused still. So we are working to foster cooperation and to shape what is our view of how this tool should be in the future in order to make it more efficient. We want to, let's say, move from handcraft project to mass production, let's say. So what are our main tools to do that? We think Procure for Health, where we have working groups. This is the list of the working groups we have already up and running. You can see that 4 of those working groups are addressing clinical topics, clinical challenges, already have a number of common unmet needs of innovation. Those unmet needs, we are, let's say, starting to cover the procurement of innovation journey with them, that I will talk a little bit later about it. And then we have, let's say, those 2 horizontal working groups working on the tool itself, impactful innovation, how this should be in order to really, when we get to a successful pilot, what is needed in order for this pilot to really be scaled and implemented in our systems. And then value-based procurement of innovation. Obviously, we're talking about procurement services, about procuring solutions, and we have to focus on value-based criteria other than, price, efficiency, and the classical criteria for our tendering process. And the other tool we have is the twinnings, or are the twinnings. If most of you are familiar with many of the European tools that are available out there. Twinnings is one of those. Twinnings are partnerships upon at least 2 members that want to start working together on how to adopt this tool. And we have right now a call for twinnings open. We are founding these partnerships for health and care services providers. Those are the beneficiaries that want to start engaging with us and working on the adoption of procurement of innovation within the organization. So the call is open until the 5th of December. There is a number of webinars upcoming in which we present all the details. So if you are interested, just take a look at all our media and you will be informed there. Okay, and just finally, I was thinking, since there is from the attendees of these talks today, I understand there is a lot of SMEs and potential suppliers of innovation. I just wanted to dig very, very briefly on what are we really talking when we're talking about procurement of innovation. So for us, procurement, this could be a quick schematic presentation of what is the procurement of innovation journey. We're talking about 4 phases. First phase is, let's say, exclusively devoted for us, for the demand side. We have to look inside our organization, assess and prioritize our needs. If we are successful with that, once we have that, then we have to go and look. We have to dig into phase 2. We have to look at the market. We have to tell the market, this is our needs, this is our priorities. Is there already a solution out there? Because maybe I can stop there right there and I can procure it. But if not, would you be able to develop a solution? How would it be? If with that information, we shape our tendering process, our procurement process, and we launch the project. That will be phase 3. And if we're successful in the phase 3, then we will dig into phase 4, which will be the actual escalation and deployment in our organizations of the solutions.
So Carlos, I have a question.
Yep.
And also you have 1 or 2 more minutes, but the
okay,
question
I'm almost
is about who is eligible for the twinnings.
Health and care services providers, whether they're public or private. Okay, clinics, hospitals, regional health services, national health services. Okay, not for the twinnings, it's not for companies. Okay, not at this stage. Okay. As I was saying, this is the procurement of innovation journey. And just because there are many attendees from the supply side here, I just wanted to dig a little bit more on the detail on what we are doing. Because from the demand side, we have the mindset of usually acknowledging a problem, an issue, a need, and quickly looking into potential solutions. From our side, we have to dig really in the definition of the challenge. This is our task. This is the question we have to ask ourselves. What is the necessity? Why is it a problem? What do we want to achieve by providing a solution to the challenge? What will be the innovation and the technology challenge? why the actual solutions available in the market do not solve this question. Let me just say that when we're talking about procurement of innovation, we're not talking about innovations that are going to, this groundbreaking innovation that are going to really change the landscape of healthcare across Europe. We are talking about solutions that really make the life of our end users easier. And when I say end users, I talk clinicians and patients. Then I could provide a few samples about that. So we are asking these questions, and then we have to go, as I said, this is the paradigm of co-creation. This is a tool that a journey that we have to cover together, but that we procure from the very beginning of the journey. Let me say that in order to raise interest from the supply side. These are the questions that we need the supply side. This is how they have to help us answer those questions. With this, let's say, with the frame of adding value, what will be the impact on healthcare system of the solutions you can provide us? What will be the metrics in which we can measure such added value? What will be an acceptable risk and revenue sharing approach for the risk and the demand, for the supply and the demand side? What will be the innovation and technology challenge? Why the action solution in the market do not solve the problem? And things. This is, as I said, this is just to start shaping that. This is a different mindset for the traditional approach we have to innovation and the adoption of innovations in our organizations. So, and just briefly, as having the opportunity of being here, as I said, we have a specific working group devoted to impactful innovation, because we really are worried about the value of death of the, we do all the journey and we have a successful pilot. Now we have to scale it and adopt it. Being able to do this is that we're successful at the end, it's because we've done things properly from the very beginning. But addressing all this is what we will be talking in a conference that we're having in less than a month in Murcia. So we will be there just in case any of you is interested. I'm sure you can find all the information in our media contact. You can find us. And that's it from my side. I don't want to take any more time from the rest of the speakers.
Thank you, Carlos. One last question is that if medical schools and medical university schools and in general universities are eligible to apply?
Not in general, but let's say, I mean, we know that healthcare organizations are an ecosystem in not only hospitals or so on. So if you are in any, like for instance, an university hospital, you are eligible. At some point, you have to be part of the healthcare organization, of a healthcare organization that provides health services. Okay.
So, and the support through the support through the twinings is happening to put those players together, and of course they would have again to submit their proposal to an Horizon Europe relevant call for PCP or PPI, and then do their procurement process, make their open calls, and bring the innovative solutions inside.
I mean the twinnings, the range of activities are very wide. You don't have to have an outcome of supporting it. It can be something as simple as, okay, we are two organizations that we have an interest, sorry about that, an interest on start implementing a strategy, adopting a strategy, let's do it together. Or it can be something going all the way to the other side of the procurement of innovation journey. We already have a solution, but we need to scale it. And I think if we do it, two organizations do it together, we have more chances of being successful. I mean, you don't have to deliver.
And then, of course, if these two organizations get together and they try to adding new technology on their healthcare system, on their systems in general, on their processes, then it will be beneficial also for indirectly for the market and the innovative solution providers. Could be startups, could be SMEs in the end, if you're facilitating such a scheme. But it's not directly to bring those two together. But after the two procurers or three procurers get enhanced, they can accept more also, because you're focusing on the demand side.
Exactly, but it can also be, okay, I already have a need identified, and I need to do the consultation with the markets. I need to do the dissemination. I need to engage in conversation. These activities, the launch of these activities, that systematized through the procurement of innovation tool that is quite flexible, because as I said, this is an European thing, so the regulation, the frames is quite open. So this is not a tight frame that we have, but it can be, start talking with the potential supplier. The activities are start engaging with them. Okay,
so maybe a next step could be that you create a sub call that you will ask for some potential innovators to join.
Exactly.
And companies.
Exactly.
In this case. Okay.
Exactly. You can use the resources for that. If anyone is interested in the next webinar, I will share the information in the chat in a few minutes. It's the next Thursday, the 2nd of November. We have another webinar in which we explain all the details about this call, and we will be addressing all these particular questions. So
thank you, Carlos. We will share your presentations as well. And now, because we are coming closer to 1 o'clock here in Greece, we are moving to, let's say, the newest and the one that I'm most curious to find out. Not that I don't prefer to listen to all the other programs, but this one is new. It's coming from Digital Europe. It's funded from Digital Europe and also the co-funding part. And it's the testing and experimenting facility in health. And we're going to our colleague in EIT Health and also TEF Health, Ricardo Pires.
Okay, thank you very much, George. Very high expectations for TEF. Indeed, it's a very preliminary, early stage of the project, but I'll be very happy to show it around. Thank you also for the previous speakers, because I mean, Eva, Jan, and Carl just set up with a good definition for things that will be here, presented also on TEF Health. Just to present and start from the beginning, I'm Ricardo Pires. I'm a EIT Health Innostars staff member, brandly actually new. I started in August actually in Innostars. I'm currently based in Portugal in the brand new office of the Portuguese team, and currently I'm the health community lead within this TEF Health testing experimentation facility for health AI and robotics that I'm just about to present to you. Just to be very clear, TEF Health is, like George was saying, a European funded project. So EIT Health is only one of the 51 members of this consortium. It's actually the job of EIT Health in this consortium is to connect and to connect the users, so the SMEs and startups with the TEF service providers. That will be the hospitals, research centers, and academia, notified bodies, and so on. It will be more clear during the presentation. I just noticed, like Carlos presented the procurer side, the context will be a little bit different, because I'll be calling offer and demand the other way around, but I think it will get clear in a minute. So the test experimentation facilities are actually 4 sectorial projects that were funded under the Digital Europe project. TEF Health that I'm presenting is just one of them. The others are on agri-food sector, manufacturing sector, smart cities and communities sector. All of them have the common aim to bring excellence of AI from lab to market and facilitate trustworthy AI. So all these solutions, the uptake of all these solutions into the European market. So I'll be presenting TEF Health and TEF Health in particular. So both AI and robotics, all these tech advances, we were just talking about ChatGPT a minute ago. Everything is really evolving very fast, and really to the public eyes, things are going very, very fast also in the health sector from the AI and robotics point of view. But of course, to get all these new medical services and procedures in place, we have a problem in terms of safety and usefulness of all these solutions for the healthcare and based on AI and robotics core tech advances. So the idea here is really to how can we adopt in a trustworthy manner all these new solutions into the clinical practice, and what was lagging in Europe. And there's several different opportunities, but I think TEF Health is bringing the first kind of big large scale one, that is this implementation of a testing infrastructure in Europe that could actually cope with delivering this opportunity to test and to validate all these innovative AI and robotic solutions for the healthcare sector and actually to bring them and accelerate their path to the market. Very much aligned with what we have already heard from Carlos' talk. So here, actually, I don't know if you see my cursor. I believe so. So the actually aim of the TEF Health is to close the gap in this AI innovation chain, actually on the healthcare sector. So I have here two arms. In the left side, I'll be speaking about the producers, the innovators of the AI solutions that are the startups and SMEs. On the right side of the screen, I'll be talking about the providers of the facilities. And those are hospitals and universities and research centers that are actually providing the infrastructure, the virtual, physical, logistical setups where these solutions from the innovators can actually be tested. So I'll be talking about the offer from the left side, from the startups, and the offer from the right side. Here we go, the confusion. The offer from the hospitals, for instance, to actually provide services, and that will be helping all these AI solutions to be tested in real world environments. So SME startups will have access to more than 50 leading hospitals and medical universities and research centers within this TEF Health ecosystem. They can test, validate in large scale and real and realistic environments their solutions. They will actually be receiving discount fees in the form of discount fees up to 30 million in the whole 5 years process. I'll be presenting this a little bit more in detail. All this to support the market access of all these intelligent solutions. From the side of, let's say, the hospitals, the providers of the facilities, they will actually have access to all these startups and all these innovations of these SMEs and startups. Yeah, we have a huge number of huge ecosystem already built up, and this is the majority of them is EAT Health network in Europe. So they will have kind of privilege and early access to these innovative solutions for healthcare. They can be the early adopters, like Carlos was just showing us the journey. So this will be very, very aligned with that. The providers themselves, the infrastructure is actually funded by the European Commission directly to build up this infrastructure along with these different providers of virtual and physical facilities. So the innovation gap will be closed. I mean, the growth and scale of these innovative solutions into healthcare. The project will also support match and connect between, like I told you, the startups and SMEs and the providers, hospitals, and so on. And of course, I'll be training opportunities, upskilling opportunities for health AI entrepreneurs and professionals within this project. Just go for some numbers. So again, the aim to validate the solutions in real environments, facilitate market access. In terms of the consortium, we're talking about 51 partners. Many of them are labs at hospitals, universities, actually providing these infrastructures. Notified bodies also has a partner group. EU connectors like EAT Health, like eBrains, like European Health Data Space Initiative. In terms of funding, this is a 5-year project. It's up until the end of 2027, so 2028. We have 5 years, so we are just beginning in the first year. We have 60 million of total budget. Like I was telling you, 30 million will be dedicated to the offer side to actually build up the infrastructure to support hospitals and healthcare systems and research institutions that will be providing services to the side of the startups. And the startups are here, the demand side, that will be having these services from the hospitals actually to validate their solutions. And for startups, there will be discount fees up to this 30 million within this 5 years period. The time is the 5 years until 2028. A little bit a different view of that.
Ricardo,
yeah, sure.
Question for the previous slide. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
You're saying also that you have notified bodies. You mean also notified bodies that provide the CE certification for medical device regulation, for example?
Indeed. So metrology institutes and so on, everything that is going to get you some sort of data and validation data that they are already in place, have partners within the consortium and working on different work packages, and also some of the services will be on certification journeys. Yes, indeed.
Because, for example, here in Greece, we have also some issues in connecting with the relevant CE certification bodies, notified bodies, because in Greece we still have only bodies that are certifying with the CE on the former regulation regulation, not on the latest MDVR regulation.
Yep,
so we
indeed.
try to reach bodies like that in Germany or France if we want to take medical technology into the market. But anyway, it should be good if you connect us with that.
It's absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. So it's
very important that half of your money will be given to the services provided and the reduced fee vouchers that you will give to the companies, and also Greek companies are
sure. I'll get to that in a minute. So all EU countries will be eligible. So companies from EU member states, yes, sure. So from the consortium, just a little bit more in detail. So we'll have 9 countries involved. Here in purple, you see Germany, Belgium, France, Italy, Portugal, Slovakia, and Sweden. There are node countries, and then associated partners are in Czech Republic and Finland. You can also see that the co-funding related agencies in these different nodes are here presented. So this will be the kind of the state aid support money. So the consortium is led by Charité in Berlin, and has all these 51 partners, like I was telling you. So to go back a little bit short to your question, yes, indeed. So certification is one of the actually in the lower percentage of services that we have, but it's indeed here, certification and standards and quality, everything related to that, what you're just asking. Majority of the offers will be physical testing centers or physical testing or virtual testing centers. So it's more than half of what is being provided by this TEF Health, but of course, a little bit of other solutions, other services categories will also be according to this graphic. Just as an overall view for the full KPIs for the 5 years project, the TEF Health AI aims to serve up to 500 TEF users. 80% of them would be SMEs. The intention is to get to 30% cross-border participation. So and to reach 500 solutions actually tested, at least 50% of them starting CE marking or being in the agile certification process, 2% adopted by health providers, very much aligned with the Procura talk of Carlos, and 2% brought to the market. Of course, the long-term business plan of the whole thing is within 5 years set up this infrastructure in Europe that is self-sustained, of course, and it will have serving with these fee-based services available to the private sector, so to the industry, startups and SMEs and advanced ones also. We will have, so as I told you, very early stage of the project. In any case, we are fighting for actually bringing out a call, first pilot call. So first preliminary calls that will actually be serving to test the whole setup that we are building up in TEF. And the TEF Health pilot call will actually be involving Portuguese service providers, just because the state aid requirements are pushing a little bit more harder on the KPIs for the Portuguese partner node side. And so we'll have the 5 institutions here: IPN, HCP, CHUC, São João Hospital, and SPMS. On the Procura side also, involved in providing the service. I'll be showing you in more detail which services are these. Target audience for this call and for the other ones that will be opening on the progress of the project are startups and SMEs from EU member states. For this particular call, a maximum of 20 pilots will be selected, hopefully until the end of 2023. We're doing our best to get to this deadline. Benefits, as I told you, access to AI and robotics experts from best-in-class organizations in Europe. SMEs can validate their AI and robotics-based solutions through all these certified service offerings that will be in place through different partners. As I told you, benefit from the state aid discount services. In terms, just indicatively showing, this is not a final list of services for this pilot first call, just for you to have an idea of what we are talking about. So these 5 Portuguese service providers will actually be delivering innovation advisory and support services aligned with all this TEF Health consortium. In the areas of engineering, medical devices, in vitro diagnostic medical devices, virtual testing data set, radiology, emergency and surgery. Just to have an idea here on the physical testing part, a lot of gap analysis on medical device, virtual testing center, access to data sets, access to sandbox services, on the business skill, for instance, a business model development, on regulatory affairs, actually all the journey to get your certified process or device certified through the correct journey to get it like on the DIGA system that you were just, George, mentioning. Just to finalize, of course, it's a lot of information that you are probably lagging if you are a startup or SME in Greece and you want to apply. You are fully eligible indeed. A lot of details will be coming up soon whenever we launch the call, and everything, all documents will be publicly available. I really invite you to join the TEF Health AI communities built on the innovators community of EIT Health. So innovators community has more than 3,500 members. TEF Health is just growing, so please feel free, and we'll really it will be really helpful if you join in and start sending us your needs and discussing with us a little bit what you think about this TEF Health opportunity and how we can actually build it. It's really on the beginning. A lot of feedback from startups and SMEs will be really, really helpful for us to actually modulate and improve this TEF Health project. And that's it from my side. So if you want to have more information, of course, the landing page of the website and the email of the TEF Health is over here. If you want to contact me directly through Innostars, ET has a partner of TEF Health. Just feel free to do that, and I'll be open for questions if you have some. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. We're looking forward to see all the services offered to the community. And of course, you will even enhance what the European Digital Innovation Hubs are trying to do. In their core, there will be also some testing and experimenting, but here we have it specified directly focusing on the matter, and you provide direct access to all this infrastructure and support. And well, I guess a combination of a startup providing a solution and the hospital can come together and test their solutions to you, and also see how they can get out of your facilities and more integrated and more holistic solution that can be actually start working in the hospital directly. You provide the maturity needed, and not only as we say it in some cases, but you're trying to give real hands-on access to testing, and this is very, very important. We have a variety of startups in our symbiosis program, connecting startups and hospitals. Around 50 Greek startups participate in 17 clinics. But now, if Ms. Riva from the Lito Maternity Clinic can give us 5 minutes for Spiros Arsenis, that has also to leave to take the floor. Spiros is a long-standing colleague of us from the National Bank of Greece Business Seeds, and he knows more about the startups that are in need of extra services, as he is one trying to connect them all together, give them funding, and also enhance the Greek ecosystem on this matter. Spiros, the floor is yours. Tell us about what you do and give a hint of funding in there and the needs.
Thank you very much, Giorgos. I'm really sorry to be very brief. We are organizing tomorrow and Friday a huge conference on fintech. Also in health, fintech in ESG, tourism, all the domains. So we are really in the last preparation moments. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm the head of the Innovation Center of the National Bank of Greece. What we do, we mainly finance startups and funds. Until now, we participate in 16 funds, 16 VCs, and we have participated with more than 30 million euros of our own capitals. So directly or through our participation, we have invested in more than 300 startups, Greek and startups with Greek interest, which means with Greek founders. So we are the National Bank of Greece. We've been alive since 1841, and until 1927 we used to issue drachmas. So we used to be the main, the central bank of Greece, and we have financed all the big projects of the Greek state. What we do now, as I said, we mainly finance startups, but we started 14 years ago with a competition. Now we are running the 14th competition. And in the same time, we collaborate closely with universities, bodies, enterprises. We participate also in Smart Article European Digital Innovation Hub. We are the leaders of investments. And we have also, we collaborate almost with all Greek bodies, organization, companies, but also with big players like Amazon, consulting companies, Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. And we have very, very close relation, and we constantly do events with all these people. For instance, in 2 weeks, we have a big event with George Megas and TAT Health about the startups in the health domain, and you're all invited to attend. What we also do, as I said, we finance directly, but also through our funds. Directly, we have already participated in PD Neurotechnology, which is a wearables a solution for monitoring Parkinson's disease. That's why the title is PD Neurotechnology, and they are doing great. They are already out in the market, and they are selling. So for us, it's one of the big challenges to see them grow and succeed. And we have also invested in another startup called Insibio. What they do biomarkers. They are based in Patras University, and they have already collaboration with Nestlé Swiss and other international companies. So, as you can see, we provide all types of financing, angel, equity, loans, and other services. As I said, for startups who are just about to begin their journey, we are organizing workshops by sector. Agro-food, health, but also other sectors. And also we organize boot camps all over Greece in the main cities, Athens, Thessaloniki, Patras, and Heraklion. We are doing that for almost 10 years with big success. What I want, we collaborate also with the main Greek university, 14 universities, and the 4 big research centers of Greece. And to close with, I would like briefly to tell you what we understood of all these years of activity. Our perception is that a fintech startup needs something about...
In this case, a healthcare also, Spiros, not a fintech.
A healthcare,
You're
yes.
thinking fintech for the next 2 days.
Of course. I'm fully into fintech now. I'm really sorry. Yeah. A healthcare startup needs about an investment of about between 20 millions and 50 millions. If we are talking about a healthcare startup with a hardware component, I think it's about 40 to 50 millions. The total investment we need to reach the growth level. what we have seen until now is many successful startups use the European projects in order to develop and mature their initial idea, in order to allow them to reach TRL 4 to 6. For me personally, I think that EIT Health acceleration programs, it's a huge opportunity. I think EIT Health, it's one of the best EIT programs we have, and they have programs for all phases of a startup. I think that after these two steps, they have to test their business plan. A startup must test their business plan through participation in competitions, Greek or international competition. Why? Because if you submit your proposal, your business plan in 5 competition and you win 0, then you must think and reevaluate your business plan. If you start winning at least 1, then you will have some money from the award. You will have also publicity, and you will have free services. And it's a common secret that if you start winning 1, then it's much more easier to win other competitions. What we also see is, okay, you finish the product, the healthcare product or the service, and then you must deal with things you don't know, and it's very hard for you all to get the right skills. For instance, distribution. The distribution is a very hard thing, even for non-healthcare startups. So please consider, first of all, to patent your product, and then consider licensing. It makes your life much more easier than to try to fabricate yourself final products and try to sell them into the market. This was very brief, I know. I'm ready if you have any questions. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Spiros. And the last, let's say, suggestions were, I think, for me, the most important. We see that it's a huge and long-term bet investing in healthcare, biotech and medtech, and maybe a bit easier in digital health. Well, one last question would be, although we will have investors and specialized consultants later on, would the investors that you have collaborated with, or the bank, or the accelerators, think of funding, let's say, the pilots of a startup inside a hospital from this really early stage, from the proof of concept stage? Would they consider starting betting their money on this kind of testing, like as we do in the public procurement for innovation in Horizon, for example? Would they consider that?
I think yes, because being in a university and allows to be more active and more close to the patients, so to the end users also. So these are the right conditions that we look for when we see if an idea is investable. So yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, so now that we're thinking, we talked a bit about the startup side, we were going to talk about we're going back to the hospital side, and we're having with us the director of Little Maternity Clinic, part of the Υγεία group, Miss Maria Driva, director. Hi, nice to have you here, Maria. You're also part of Symbiosis. and we worked together in the past through your position in Υγεία. And the floor is yours to tell us what do the hospital needs, what are the real needs in the hospital, and how you would consider on investing on innovative solutions from the open market rather than building them yourselves with your IT departments or buying them off the shelf. The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, George. Thank you for inviting me in this event. Hello, everybody. First of all, I will just make a very small introduction. I'm the managing director of Lito Clinic. It is the oldest in age, the smallest, one of the smallest in capacity, but one of the important ones of the Hellenic Healthcare Group, which is the biggest private healthcare provider in Greece. So I will talk a little bit about Lito, not for advertising reasons, but mainly for those who are interested when it comes to startups, of what kind of organization we are. And I will give you a little bit of background information. The clinic was created back in the 1970s, when it was launched as it is more or less known in the Greek market as a maternity clinic. So it is that old, and it was one of the best and the first maternity clinic in Greece. Back in 1986, it was the first best clinic that was organized in the Greek private market. And we are the first ones to introduce the water births in 1999. Then we became part of a big, well-known group, Υγεία Group, in 2007. We kept introducing new pioneering services, like in 2010. After 40 years of operation, besides water births, we have home birth, which means like you give birth, like you are in your home with settings that resemble your home, family members around you, candles and everything. Yoga classes for pregnant women, psychological support, acupuncture department, and everything to do about supporting the women in labor. In 2018, we became part of an even larger group, the Hellenic Healthcare Group, that operates in Greece and Cyprus currently. I don't know what are the plans for the future. But in 2022, Lito started its transition to becoming a general clinic, general, gynecological, and maternity clinic, of course, because the strategy of the group and the needs of the market are asking for including more services. We also get accreditation certification for the whole clinic for ISO 9001 and 15224, which is a specialized standard for clinics for healthcare. Last summer, we installed our newest MRI scanner. We already introduced a CT scan like 6 months ago. And the strategy for the next 2 or 3 years is to develop more general clinic services like adult ICU, because we have neonatology ICU already, endoscopy department, and some oncology services, mainly with the most, having in mind mainly women. So some basic information also about our capacity. We have currently 1,100 beds, and we are planning to have a license for 120 next year after we create these new services I just talked about. All these years, because now we're more than 50 years old, more than 200,000 births have been happened in Lito. We happily brought to this world more than 210,000 babies. And the two last squares here talk about Lito being one of the friendliest clinics in the country for the babies, because we managed to have 600 natural births after a birth that happened with C-section for the same woman. And almost 70% of the women who give birth in our clinic are leaving the hospital breastfeeding. This is very important for those understanding what that means for the baby health and the connection with the mother, etc. The services overall include, of course, maternity and prenatal screening, gynecology, IVF services, imaging and labs, and some other services, as I said, relating with mainly women and their health, like plastic surgery and aesthetics, general surgery, also departments like metabolism and dietary services, osteoporosis lab, urodynamic, molecular biology, and cytogenetics for before, during, and after the birth services. Now, moving on to digital transformation, I will give you a very small depiction of the situation right now. We belong in a very big group, of course. Some basic and horizontal needs have been covered, like we have started from below the all PACS, LIS, RIS systems. We have SAP here with all the main modules like ISH, FI, cost, HR, and MM. We all operate in Office 365 and we own a company portal. But then the problems start, and I guess this is pretty much what the Greek market is experiencing as well. Our group has two digital applications, one that I was responsible for before I came to Lito, and it has to do with telemedicine and booking. It didn't go very well. I will not say anymore, just that we're starting to leave it behind. We tried to organize an application for booking for the whole group, to include also clinics, diagnostic centers, and all the services in Greece and Cyprus, if that was possible. So we left behind the first digital application that we had in collaboration with a Finnish company, and we found a Greek startup that, after a lot of search, that we thought they were be able to develop something for us from scratch, because there was nothing to care for all the needs and the complexity of the group. So like 2 years after, we're still in the stage of staging. We do tests and try to move us forward as possible to be able to introduce this booking system for the whole group. Now, we are part of that as well, Lito, but let's move within the company, within the clinic. So here on the left, I said that the basic digital needs are covered when it comes to hospital operations, but every new solution, every new integration happens very slow, mainly because of our staff's digital illiteracy. People that come into the hospital, new employees, are not digitally able and ready to support the digital transformation. So we have to do a lot of training and a lot of support. And that means for a healthcare clinic that it's not easy for us to allocate a lot of time, all this time that is required for people to be digitally ready to move on to digital solutions. So even sometimes there are available solutions, we are not ready to implement them. Also, we have some very basic daily needs that we're not able to cover. Like I have here, I say medical waste. We as healthcare providers, we are responsible to measure and report to the authorities how the volumes of medical waste that we produce and how we manage them. So all this was happening by handwritten paper and notebooks until a few months ago that we introduced the shared Excel files, and it was like the Messiah came down to Lito. That means that we are really very slow in introducing simple daily solutions to make our staff's work easier and more relaxed. So we spend a lot of time doing all this reporting while we should be doing a lot of more than that to do clinical work. Of course, as the complexity of the company, the patients, the groups, the government's needs rise, so we need more reporting and more access to data, not only financial, which is pretty much covered, but also qualitative data. And this is another need and another trauma, if I may say, of our clinic. So I will not talk about big data analysis or AI. They're just there for us to dream for. This is how we currently feel. There are some inclusions of AI in diagnostics for imaging tests, but we are not very near to getting them by ourselves. We rely on the group's financial support to be able to be included in these kind of solutions. And having said that, I thank you very much for hearing me out and for being here and probably wanting to help us move forward a little more faster.
Ms. Riva, thank you very much for an excellent and to-the-point presentation. As tough it might be in our ears at some point to sometimes to listen to the truth, and it was really, really eye-opening. And well, we had a year group on the Symbiosis Connecting Startups and Hospitals program. We have the needs there, and we know that we succeeded, and we had 17 partnerships happening in 2022. We hope more are happening this year between startups and hospitals. 4 or 5 are business partnerships. Another 4 or 5 are in, let's say, piloting phase, which are my favorite. And then the others are common submission of proposals in Horizon Europe. Well, I asked you the other day, and I will ask again, if you would give up to a small amount of money as a private organization, a private hospital, you know, if you find the right startup while they're doing the pilots in your hospital in a win-win situation to develop something that you need and also test their solutions. And if you would we do that, and you can do that at any point through Symbiosis as well, and you did it already with a startup. But would you also consider on paying a little bit for the time, either of the doctors that are supporting the organization, this kind of scheme, that are already receiving, of course, salary, but also, most importantly, for the startup members, for the startup employees to come there, the startup owners, and test their solution? Because what we haven't achieved so far is some money for this pilot. They're just receiving, of course, valuable information and valuable calibration of their algorithms and data, whenever possible under GDPR, but there is no money there. But you told me that you would consider it if you find the right solution up to a certain amount. Even 10K for 6 months wouldn't be bad for us. We are not aiming super high at first.
Yes, of course I would be very willing to do that, not because it is an investment, it's also money saving, that when I spend 10 and save 30, that's a very good deal for me.
So I have also Alexis will come back to you later, but I'm asking for a small amount because, you know, from 0 to something it's better than staying where we are. So a small amount for a couple of times and visits and establishment of equipment and the systems inside the hospital is something, I think, rather than
yes, a small amount
nothing.
is very good for us as well, because we can do some pilots and then we can introduce them to the group. I may be the managing director of one of the smallest units of the group, but still we have open communication with a group administration. And if they actually see results, they will be very interested them as well.
True. The first results can, let's say, make us make the, let's say, the C-levels more open to spending more. So thank you again very much. And you told us you talked about the actual needs and the truth behind what is now happening in the Greek hospitals like Lito, but we're going to see the future and where we should be going. And we have an expert on the matter, Mr. George Kourepis from Deloitte. George, tell us to everyone what should be the case. What is the digital transformation on healthcare looks like? What does it look like?
I will try to cover this in the few minutes that we have available. It's a little bit bizarre to talking about the digital transformation in healthcare and having those technical problems. First of all, I would like to thank AIT for the invitation. It's a really pleasure and honor to be part of such an esteemed panel. My aspiration here is in the next few minutes, first of all, to go a step back and establish relevant and discuss a little bit why should hospitals and health providers in general be concerned about innovation, why they need to be close to innovation, why they need to embrace innovation. I will focus a little bit on the need and on the ask that startups and scale-ups will need to deliver in order to make themselves relevant to the hospitals, and also discuss a little bit about what's important in order for this cooperation, in order for this symbiosis to succeed going forward. Without delaying any further and sticking to the key messages to respect your time, I think that here we're standing on a burning platform. The world is changing really fast, and the key takeaway is that while changing is risky, not changing is not an option. We don't know how the future will look like because our perception is linear, but the reality is exponential. And this is why it's really important for all the key stakeholders in the broader ecosystem to be close, to be open, to have their ears and their eyes open for innovation in order not only to be able to follow the change, but also to lead it to the extent possible, of course. We said that we cannot predict the future, but we can follow the mega trends that will shape the future of healthcare going forward. What we are seeing is that health will be defined holistically in the future. So we're talking about an overall state of well-being that encompasses both physical health, of course, but also social, mental, spiritual, and emotional health. We're talking about a care that will be organized around the needs of the consumer, not the patient, a consumer of healthcare services, and not around the convenience of the clinicians or the care providers. The consumers in this new ecosystem will be really empowered. They will have access to detailed information about their health. They will own their health data and share in health-related decision-making. They will demand accessible, affordable, and personalized healthcare products and services. On top of that, we see that care delivery and digital transformation, which will be enabled by robust, real-time, and radically interoperable data, as already mentioned by other speakers, open, secure platforms, which are really important, and security is a critical point in that discussion, and artificial intelligence, virtual health applications, and other digital technologies will promote closer collaboration among industry stakeholders and deliver the right care in the right place at the right time. On top of that, we have innovative interventions and treatments from existing and new healthcare providers that will be more precise, less complex, less invasive, and less expensive. So to wrap everything up, what we're saying is that the future of healthcare will be more holistic, more digital, and built around the needs of the patient. What does this mean for the healthcare providers? They will need to transform the way they're working. So the hospital of the future will have interconnected medical devices for information sharing and remote use. It will have, and it already has in many cases, robotic systems in the operating rooms, like Da Vinci, etc. It will have portable devices, wearables, and sensors for remote monitoring. Organizations will keep their data in cloud, and I'm referring to electronic health records, real-world data, and other data sources. On top of that, we will need to have interconnected health information systems, linking various departments within a hospital setting, like pathology, pharmacy, imaging, labs, etc. We will have identification or tracking systems to monitor patients, personnel, and equipment. Systems and platforms to support remote care. We're talking about telemedicine and virtual health solutions. And on top of that, AI software to facilitate diagnosis or to enhance accuracy and efficiency. Mrs. Driva earlier mentioned some applications that already take place here in Greece. For instance, I know about the Watson platform for oncology in Υγεία, which is part of the Hellenic Healthcare Group. So this is not a remote future. Part of these things are already happening right now, and the startup or scale-up ecosystem could facilitate early access to those innovations for Greek healthcare providers. On top of that, we have the elephant in the room. We have generative AI. We have already mentioned that, but I strongly believe, and we at Deloitte believe, that it will be a catalyst for future developments even in the healthcare sector. So in a hospital setting, we are talking about personalized services with direct responses to patients' questions about claims, about insurance coverages, and other healthcare services, of course. We're talking about large language models that will free time from physicians in order for them to focus on patient-facing care. We're talking about operational efficiency, and of course, streamlining the claim submission and managing process. Having said that, what's the so what? First of all, and Tion mentioned that in a very interesting way at the beginning of our discussion earlier today, we have to identify the need. We have to see what the hospitals, what healthcare providers need. They need innovation in order to meet their strategic objectives. Their objectives are, first of all, better health outcomes, enhanced patient experience, and this directly links to the patient journey that Tion described earlier. They need more efficient operations. So to be more efficient in order to reallocate resources to what really matters and what really adds values to their clients, because as Jon mentioned, they don't want to lose clients, they don't want to lose face, they don't want to lose time. And of course, they want to be innovative. They want to have access to more clients. They want to go beyond the hospital walls. They want to have direct contact with their patients out of the hospital setting. Now, what is the challenge in all this? First of all, and the most important thing to me at least, is that hospitals do not have the capabilities in-house to move towards the new paradigm on their own. At the same time, there are some mature solutions in the market, but they might not be the answer, or at least the answer to all the questions, because first of all, they might not exist. Secondly, they might be too expensive. A third point is that they might not need the custom needs of the organizations that we have here in Greece. And at the same time, they do not allow for differentiation. They cannot be a source of competitive advantage for the hospitals that will have participated from the beginning in the development of those solutions. So where do we see the opportunity? We believe that healthcare providers need to adapt open innovation through partnership with the startup and the scale-up ecosystem in order to develop and test innovative solutions. In order to do that successfully, we have to focus on what we see as the critical success factors. First of all, and this is the role of the various hubs that are in place and have already been mentioned prior to our discussion, to reconcile supply and demand. So to bring the right people in the right table, to sit at the same table, and to discuss about the needs and how the existing solutions could address those needs, or perhaps new solutions. A second key point is that startups, scale-ups need to build a solid value proposition and to identify in advance the metrics for value capture. So what constitutes success and what success would look like in order to get all the other participants in the broader ecosystem on board. Another key point is to think big, to develop something that will be scalable. You need something that will be tailored, but also something that will lead to the next day, something that we can get even out of the Greek borders. And finally, and this links to the main topic of our discussion today, to find the appropriate funding mechanisms. A lot of mechanisms have been mentioned during our discussion, but I think that the most underutilized pool of funding comes from pharma. I think that Eva mentioned this at the beginning of our discussion, that pharma is really relevant because, and this also happening here in Greece, pharma companies need to differentiate themselves and they are striving to move beyond the pill, to establish themselves as partners to the broader ecosystem and to make known to the broader public, to the state, to the physicians, to the administration of the hospitals, that they embrace and they lead innovation. In this context, I believe that's really relevant to get pharma companies, I'm referring to big pharma, but also to local players, early on those discussions, identify their appetite, and they can act as enablers to the broader ecosystem, as funding sources, and this is a win-win situation. Pharma companies have the financial muscle, they have the means to scale globally, and they want to test solutions before they do that. And Greece, and I'm referring to private, but also to public hospitals, could be a good testing ground for innovative solutions. And this could be a win-win situation. At the same time, you know that the Greek pharma landscape has some particularities like rebate and clawback, etc. So pharma companies investing in innovation could be, in the following years, this is not the situation right now, something that could be incorporated in the clawback offsetting mechanism. So they could have some incentives in order to do that. What I'm saying here is that aside from traditional funding sources, I believe that it's really important to bring the life science organization on the table in order to see what they can contribute in a symbiotic relationship, let's say. This is all from me, and I'm open to questions if you have any. Thank you very much for your attention. And once again, thank you very much for the invitation and for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you very much, George. I think that we should see all this happening in the foreseeable future, or else we're not going to have a lot of progress and reach the already developed, let's say, healthcare systems like those of Israel or United States, or not United States so much, but Sweden or other countries.
George, it's interesting that you mentioned this because Israel is a very good example of cooperation. So, for instance, we have applications for cancer patients that were developed by, let's say, Datos Health in cooperation with Saba Institute, etc. So really innovative solutions that could be success stories and use cases that will be leveraged in order to promote similar ideas in other markets.
But I may remember that we had the first, let's say, one of the 2020 Morning Health Talks, because we have Morning Health Talks like 4 years now with Simba Hospital and ARC Innovation Center. We had the director, Eyal Zimlichman here, and we heard what they're doing there, and we tried to build our own, let's say, program, again, symbiosis, and we are happy to sell Deloitte the analysis that we did on the needs of the healthcare system. I'm kidding. But we have, let's say, 17 files with where we analyze and requested for the hospitals to write down their needs and their expertise and provide us with ambassadors. So we have this pool. Of course, we have Υγεία Hospital that we saw earlier, and now we're gonna talk with Mr. Riva to analyze, of course, and catalog all their Lito clinic needs. And we are expanding, and we also request for more hospitals and clinics to come. Although Beata and Eva, I don't know if we can manage more than 17 with the capacity we have and the budget we have. And Ricardo knows what we're talking about. So thank you very much again. And well, we're staying a little bit now on the external funding opportunity and the external supporters, venture capitals, angel investors, and we're going to George Georgiadis to tell us, I mean, how do you see it as from the investor side? Can you invest in these early procurement of innovation schemes and early, let's say, innovative collaborations that will try to do piloting in the hospitals to mature the solutions and then use them in the market?
George, thank you very much for the invitation. First of all, it's a great pleasure to be here among health tech experts. The entire med tech, health tech topic is also super interesting for us. Just like in a nutshell, I'm leading practically a small angel syndicate that consists mainly of friends and family. We're focusing on investments with a clear technology character. The startups or the companies that we're investing in have to be technology driven, not just technology enabled. So among these, also in this framework, the entire health tech ecosystem and vertical, as you can imagine, is super important for us. I can also give some insights about 2 investments that we recently did, but taking this one step after the other. For me, the first thing is to understand what are the real problems, right? And I think that from an angel investors or a VC perspective, the thing is that a health tech startup is very, very, very capital intensive. So the risk is high. It's difficult to somehow see early traction. Sometimes, especially if we speak about a new device or something like that, a startup might raise more than 20 million, for example, without generating any revenues because you don't have FDA approval, CE approval, etc., etc. So I think that this is a huge issue when we compare this with the software world, right? So I think that that's why until now, the majority of the venture capital, they invested smaller, I would say, especially the early stage VCs, they invested smaller tickets into a lot of different software-oriented startups to have a diversified portfolio, to like minimize practically the risk via diversification, and the whole, I don't like the word deep tech, but the more like technology driven and technology like oriented businesses were the second priority, to be honest. But I think that currently the momentum is changing. Like after the recent developments, both on economical but also on a political level, we see that the real technology is becoming more and more interesting. Like many VCs are starting speaking about deep tech investments, etc., because I think that technology and technological innovation has something more tangible compared, for example, to a marketplace or something like that. So we have to take advantage of this momentum. And I think that you are the right people that can support practically the hedging or the de-risking that an investor wants to do in case of like a startup. I think that there is not a better like evidence, I don't say like proof of concept, but like a first like feeling at least that something can work if you as a startup can pilot your project in a hospital or in a smaller clinic or something like that. This is super important, like early traction and showing that there is perspectively a product market fit out there is super important. And I think that this is something that most of the investors, most of the VCs are not ready to take the entire risks on their shoulders. They want to collaborate with hospitals. They would like to collaborate with EIT Health for sure in order to somehow create such kind of pilot opportunities. And I mean, my intention is also to trigger a bit discussion on this, like on this field. And I can tell you like some few, like I can tell you two examples on how different were the two startups that we recently invested in, actually. And the one, it was like a spin-off of ETH in Zurich. They have EAC as investor, the European Innovation Council. And what they're doing is practically they developed a device, a PET scan, that is more compact, smaller than the standard one, of course, also cheaper. And they want to focus on the area of the head in order to do early identification of dementia, and with particular focus on Alzheimer, because the momentum now is super interesting as new, there are not curements, but things that can accelerate the development of Alzheimer. They're currently getting FDA approval, etc. So this is something interesting. For us, for example, this particular case was super interesting because on the one hand, it was a bit like later stage startup, I would say like Series A to Series B practically, and without any revenues, but with a clear, promising technology that we can say that, considering also what Spiros Arseni said before, like if it works, they do not necessarily have to create a company and a maintenance and after sales department and distribution department, etc. They can license their technology to a big company, to, I don't know, like Siemens Healthineers, GE Healthcare, etc., and they can do the work for them. So for us as investors, we see a clear profitability / exit path. So our risk practically is hedged through collaboration. Another example of an early stage company that we invested in was a company based in UK in London that they developed VR, practically like an algorithm in order to, through a gamified way and with a VR headset, to do rehabilitation after stroke, with some particular very interesting features, for example, like real-time haptic feedback when you're not doing the movement in the right way, and also with insights that can be provided to the clinicians that are responsible for the rehabilitation of the patients, etc. So in this case, the startup was in a totally different stage, super early. Like the company was funded like 6 months ago. Everything like the founders were coming fresh from the university, but they have practically co-developed their solution with clinicians. So this is exactly the, I mean, they didn't have like such a huge barrier as a pharma industry, right? They could from the very beginning on collaborate with clinicians. And even though they're a super early stage startup, still they have collaborated with 20 clinics and also have real early traction. So this is again something that makes the whole thing super attractive for us, because having revenues and showing early traction after some few months, this is super, super important. And this is again another example why partnership and collaboration, in this case, like with some clinicians and also some patients, and can help like de-risking the whole investment case, the entire investment thesis. So I think that in both cases, we speak about an early stage startup on the one case, about a later stage startup on the other case, the partnership and the perspective that this partnership gives was actually what triggered our intention to invest in them. Of course, the team and everything, we can speak about all these things like for hours and hours, but I think that for today's talk, what we should like elaborate more and discuss together about this is the fact that how important are these kind of partnerships and what we can do in order to trigger more similar partnerships. This is in my opinion important, and I don't know like if you have any ideas or any questions about this, but for me again, like what I would like to emphasize on is that health tech is definitely, and med tech are super capital intensive businesses, risky. We know that there are like a lot of different like risks that have to do with regulation, etc. But still, everything can be really lucrative for an investor if everything is formed with the right framework. And collaboration is key. Collaboration is key in this regard, because again, if you compare it with the software world, when the software world from day one, you have like a global audience. You have users worldwide that could eventually use your product, etc. So there are not so many discussions about like total addressable market, etc., etc., etc. Right? So everything is a bit more, I would say, straightforward. I don't know, there is no easy path, but it's more straightforward. In this case, you have to tackle a lot of different problems, but at the end of the day, to create something that, at least for myself, it's much more impactful because it solves real problems. So I think that also this is a perception that we have in our angel syndicate, that if you create a real technology that solves real problems, at the end of the day, you're also going to make money, both for you and your investor. So it's a bit simplistic what I'm saying, but this is the reality. So I think considering this and trying to involve all the different like key players of the ecosystem together, this is really important to somehow enhance the chances of a startup to get funded and at the end of the day to be successful. I don't think that VCs on their own or angel investors can do this. Perhaps some VCs that have dedicated acceleration programs could be in the position to do something like that, or venture capitals that are like a bit later stage VCs that have also a small incubation or again acceleration program for early stage. There are such kind of like concepts. I don't think that I don't think that this is going to be like the standard or the new standard for VCs, that they are creating acceleration programs for startups to collaborate with hospitals, etc. This might be something exotic, but I'm pretty sure that you don't need many. You need quality, not quantity in this case. So I think that creating such kind of pilot projects and creating such kind of cases and showing the impact that it has, and also trying to involve the investors from the very beginning on in this discussion, because they will also understand that in this case, they are hedging their risk, they are de-risking practically their investment, they are enhancing their chances to.
Thank you, George. We are having some trouble to include the investors in such an early maturity program like symbiosis, for example, or well, sometimes it's hard to include them even in acceleration programs or prizes, awards. They are just a bit low in maturity and potential revenues for them. But I think that since VCs actually and angel investors also want to bet on the good horses, which is logical in some cases, I think also since you're also betting in various bets and then seeing which will go forward, having 50 startups at your hands right now and in trying to be included in more than 17 or 20 hospitals, for example, or healthcare system providers, healthcare providers, for example, you can check and identify them really early and check who will go forward, check if the technology sounds to you like it could be profitable. I think the question would be that, would you fund such small schemes? Would you or as an investor, or the ones that you know, create an add-on program to fund such early seed and early stage opportunities. We've seen, for example, in Greece in the Equifund, some of the let's say funds there or other funds that supported early stage innovations coming from research or academia. Seen, for example. The point is that we can bring you on the table collaborations. We can bring you formed schemes. We can bring you supported startups from TEF or EIT Health or Digital Innovation Hubs or Horizon Europe. Again, I think it's very, very difficult to actually make you fund some part of it. I don't know.
I think that, George, that on the one hand, this has to do with the fact that both in Greece and like in the entire like Balkan region, it's a fact that the majority of the VCs are topic or sector agnostic, right? We don't have like so many specialized VC. I think that if you have a VC that focuses mainly on like, I would say health tech or mainly in hardware, there are VCs, I know like some VCs from Netherlands, for example, that they're doing only hardware. This is their investment thesis, no software at all. So if you find such kind of people that, or such kind of VCs that have such a specific focus, I think that they would be much more interested compared to the VCs that we have in our region. And this is not to blame, what I'm saying is not to blame our region. Like we are smaller markets compared to like other regions. So this is actually like a characteristic that in order to have, or in order to be able to find enough deal flow and enough startups that you should evaluate in order to take your final investment decision, you have to be sector agnostic. If you focus on, for example, like my heart is beating also for energy and mobility. I cannot find so many energy or mobility startups in Greece, right? It's difficult. It's difficult. The market is small and it has some like limitations per se. So I think that we shouldn't close the eyes to this fact, but at the same time, we should try to involve them, involve the VCs. I don't expect practically from the VCs to perhaps fund an acceleration program, but I expect them to be there and somehow try to filter the startups and try to mentor the 5 best ones. Because out of these 5, perhaps eventually at some point, they might do 1 or 2 investments. And this is already something important that has to be done.
So bring your colleagues next year for Symbiosis 2024, and we'll bring you the 5 best of, and you can give them some mentoring hours. And well, before going to Maria, which brings all of the actors under the same roof as the manager of the the health hub in Greece, and also representing Joyce and the Institute of Entrepreneurial Development and various other hats. I want to ask just one thing to Ricardo. Is the same situation happening in Portugal regarding VCs and startups? Is it similar? Are you familiar with the situation?
Not fully familiar, but I mean, you have some experience, and we face the same thing, right? I mean, we start having some more VCs and BAs really for small groups like probably George that are willing to be a little bit more sectorial and go for IT or go for more health specific niches and so on. But still, a lot of them moving away from health tech and very high risk investments. That's the traditional and the typical thing. I think this is going to be reversed. Probably, but it's kind of an opinion on how the things are evolving, especially with all these advances on AIs and all the possibilities that it will serve. But still, we have the same feelings, and that's also my experience from the local region. Yes,
I would like to give some guidelines to the startups. Usually, we see startups in the market that they are related, connected, or collaborating either with universities or 1 or 2 doctors who are of one specialty or dealing with one kind of patients. And very often we see solutions that are very narrow and limited and not focused on serving a bigger level of buyers or users. I would suggest that if they are able to enter a clinic, a hospital, that is at the same time there are present all the needs of the company as an enterprise, of the payers, insurance companies, social security and everything, and patients. I would be very happy to give access to a startup that would be interesting in searching for needs. And as long as they work with us, they will understand the market and the sector better, because usually startups come and they think they know very well only one part of what they're serving, but they miss the whole situation. So if they come in and start working for possibly one solution, but seeing next to them other needs, bigger needs, more complex needs, and they start discussing with all of us that work on these areas, they will be able to come up with innovative ideas. They have to interact more with us. And very often I see these entities, they don't speak the same language. Very often I have the IT people, the startup people, and then some professionals, and they cannot understand each other.
Thank you very much.
They need to come in, work with us, and then understand how they should start thinking about. And then innovative ideas will come that will serve everybody, and then big money and VCs will be interested. And because Greece is mainly a country of SMEs, small and medium enterprises, they shouldn't go always for the bigger ones, because they are the minority. Even they have the big bucks, usually they don't spend because they haven't seen a working solution.
Well, we'll hear the comment of Alexis after Maria, representing a startup or two. Well, what you said is really valuable, but at some point, I mean, we know that startups are Swiss blades and Swiss knives, but in some cases, what you describe, analyzing the full ecosystem of the hospital, the entire hospital, finding where the waste is and where the critical processes are and all that. I mean, they need Mr. Kourepis with them, and I don't know if they can pay for all that services at that point.
I'm not telling analyzing the whole ecosystem. They will focus on what they want, but at the same time, around them, they will understand how the system works. So they will make it
makes sense. It makes complete sense.
More inclusive and maybe smarter.
Indeed, it makes sense. And maybe at the first level, they can have me, Beata, Ricardo, Eva, Ion, and all the publicly funded consultants to support them in their first steps. And then, of course, if they have more money, George.
if I may add here, I think the important thing about what Maria is saying is for the startups not to be focused on the product, but on the solution. And in order to be focused on the solution, you need to be, as Ion mentioned at the beginning, you need to understand the ecosystem, you need to understand the needs and how they think. So I totally second what Maria said about closer collaboration and having their eyes and ears open in order to capture the true root causes of any given problem in order to find the right solutions. I'm not saying that they're not doing this right now. Some of them are doing this.
So thank you, George. Yes, one of the challenges that we have even in our ecosystem is providing a relevant feedback from the investors early on. What we do, for example, we have a network of angel investors, which do not act like VC, because VCs would have KPIs, but angel investor would invest their own money and would also appreciate the fact that they have access to early stage startups where they can get good value for their money. Smaller ticket price, smaller valuation, of course, higher risk, but they are okay with the higher risk because it's their own money. For them, it's just another way to invest their own resources. And this is working. In our local capacity building in Hub Vantage, we have a group of investors, angel investors, which have previous investments in startups, and they are more than happy to provide the feedback because they're, let's say, hunting for opportunities. And that's this is how we are managing this. Okay, you cannot, we don't have specialized VCs. We have a couple of angel groups which are going with higher ticket prices, but you need to have some reality check on the ground. And you do this, putting them in front of healthcare professionals that come from the practice, and we bring early on investors that will tell them, guys, if you need me to invest in you, I'm expecting to see this, and this. And this is really having a good impact for those that are ready. Because in many situations, people ask for money, but they are not prepared to get the money. So we need to help them to get there. Thank you, everybody, for the contribution. Thank you. Very, very insightful.
So, Eva, you can see how good have advantages and symbiosis as well, and data. I mean, the capacity building programs you initiated both and the EIT Health are working. And also, I think we should bring Maria and Mr. Georgiadis together, and also the startups all together to start discussing. And we are lucky to have with us Maria today, because I think your capacity in the previous position as expert on the digital transformation and all the innovation issues in υγεία will, I think, be an asset in your current position. You're knowledgeable of the digital transformation process.
Yes, I know. I have a big experience from both the healthcare professional, but also someone who tried to be a startupper and initiate some solutions from within the healthcare. But we cannot do it on our own because things move so rapidly, and we are mainly trying to follow what healthcare is doing. Technology and digital, we need some support from people who do it every day as their main focus.
Okay.
And what is important, our group is that big that is also interested in being an investor. So you need to know that we're searching, we're screening.
Excellent, thank you. And we're going to go now to Maria that brings all this together, and actually we'll have all the experts on the technology in the scheme as well. So Maria, you waited long enough, but the floor is yours.
Thank you for today. It was so insightful. I'm really happy that I get to speak towards the end because, you know, I have bits and parts from all of you now. Unfortunately, I have not spoken with Mrs. Driva before. I'm definitely going to give you a call after today. And I was about to ask, how come a general manager of a clinic, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, has such a broad view of all the things that happen there? So I got my reply just now.
And 30 years of experience.
Yeah. Not just that, it's the matter, it's the, how to say, it's the
position,
kind of experience.
Yes. Specific.
Because I represent, let's start from the beginning. So I'm here representing a European Digital Innovation Hub, one of the 7 Greek ones. So it's 2 of them focusing on health, but as a whole, we're 7. So one of the 2 focusing on health and the pharma sector. So we included the pharma sector from the very beginning, because as George Kourepis mentioned, we had seen how important it is. And also, I personally represent the pharma sector in the working group of all hubs across the EU. So having done quite a lot discussions around digital maturity assessment with directors, managers of hospitals, and not only, I have rarely seen such a holistic view like Mrs. Driva had. So apart from the Health Hub and the European Digital Innovation Hub, I also represent the Institute of Entrepreneurship Development, which coordinates the hub. And is also an expert in EU-funded projects with more than 350 projects in our portfolio. And last, the Joist Innovation Park. So practically the Innovation Park is the roof of both the Institute, of the Health Hub, of the EDIC, and of course of a competence center, PITHIA, which also focuses on health. What I could offer in today's discussion would be, I have a presentation. I will not be sharing it now. George, you may share it with everyone after the event. On the one hand, I think the edicts come in the middle of what you had been discussing before, because apparently we are not Deloitte. We cannot compete with Deloitte, and we do not want to compete with Deloitte. So we do not ask for much money. Then we're not public. None of it is public. So we can come there, we can discuss with the hospital or with the VC, as I have spoken with George Georgiadis before, or with the startup, a number of startups here. And we can, the services that the hubs provide, some of them are for free and some of them are with very little money, because we're not here to compete with the market, but we're here to provide services and help practically with the digital transformation of both the public and the private sector. I would also like to share on a national scale that it was through the Health Hub that we have developed a very fruitful and effective communication with the Ministry of Internal Affairs. It is some days ago that we now have the governmental decision, υπουργική απόφαση, with which we have the innovation group with the blessings of the government. So in this group, we will have one representative from each EDIC and also representatives from the public sector, all of us sitting together. The first meeting will be next Friday here at Joist, at our innovation park in Larissa with all these representatives. And what we're going to start with will be, on the one hand, with public actors and authorities. We shall have challenges, and so we will bring together the public actors with the EDICs, and we shall see how we can contribute to giving solutions to them based on the challenges that they have. So I think this is one step forward, bearing in mind the public sector. This is a first for the Greek reality, and it was something that initiated from the ministry, and it is something like a sign that they actually want to do something innovation-wise at this moment. What we do and what is special is that, as George mentioned before, we bring all the actors under one roof. We have some very important and effective events here at Joist, like Innovent, which occurs every February, and InnoHealth, which focuses on innovation in health, which occurs every September. And it was thanks to the latest InnoHealth, like 1.5 months ago, that George Georgiadis managed to, let's say, book a meeting for one of the startups that he mentioned with a rehabilitation center here in Greece. I just mentioned it as a good case study. And except for that, there is a platform that we own, EU Calls, through which we do help with EU funding projects, there being more than 10,000 partners of ours. So we have built an algorithm, which is quite effective, to be honest, and one can have a concept note or one can have a consortium, and we just take it from there and make it thrive for you. And except for that, and I will close with this, the Innovation Park, which is the only one in Greece, and it's not in Athens, it's not in Thessaloniki, it's in Larissa. So what it does practically, there is a marketplace, so you can have the solution providers and the solution seekers, and all we do practically there is that we act as facilitators. So also the hub and the innovation park, we do not compete with the market. We do not compete, for example, with Deloitte. We want your services to have them there and just sell it even more for you. We do not compete with George. We do not compete with Alexis, for example, that you're going to speak after me. Just give us your solutions and we'll just sell it for you. And of course, it's not a matter of competing, but like with Lito, like with Υγεία, like with Theatrico, and like really big healthcare providers, but very, very small ones as well, like diagnostic centers or whatever. We go there hand by hand to see the actual needs and see how we can match them. And we do it quite effectively. This is it on my end.
We have Alexis and Sofia Xisfigi, Dr. Sofia Xisfigi, which will also discuss about all the funding opportunities available in the health thematics in Horizon Europe. If VCs and the other investors are not there in the early beginning, we'll have also Horizon Europe. But you can finalize your speech or your thesis, but then we'll go to see and listen to Alexis and listen to the startup side. How did Alexis? What did Alexis thought about what we discussed today here? So Maria, thank you again. And,
I'm good, yeah, thank you.
I believe you have to offer a lot, and well, all these years of expertise in IED as well, before creating even the Health Hub, has made you experts in the funding opportunities, proposal writing, support in that area also is very important. When the startups come to you, you should also provide them some support on this and link them with the best consortia that you have been participating with all these years also.
Exactly. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you. And Alex, the floor is yours. Alex, we've been working together and so you're supporting our efforts many years now. Well, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Many thanks for the invitation. So I'm Alex Furlis. I'm CEO and co-founder of FEMA. And our goal is to minimize patients' waiting time at emergency departments. Before proceeding with the presentation, just to mention that EMA is a joint venture and work of Vidavo SA, a key player, a key telemedicine player in Greek, and also the medical school of Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. And I'm saying that mostly to mention that it's really hard to start a company, to have an idea or a research project or a PhD in the healthcare domain without having synergies, working closely with companies and hospitals that they can present you the needs and their requirements, because it's a good thing to doing your own research and having ideas how to help, but it's useless to making products that no one will use ever. So we were lucky having Vidavo and the medical school together with us. So I will not pitch EMA, just to mention that waiting time, it's a huge issue. This is verified, it's scientific verified. The most we are spending inside an emergency department, the cost of care will increase and the health outcomes will be worse. So we have specific metrics about this problem. And when it comes to pilot, it depends on your solution. This is why I would like to say that EMA is a system that combines hardware, wearable devices, mobile application for doctors, and AI algorithms that run at the edge, are running on doctors' smartphones to predict the probability of hospitalization, the length of stay, and they provide real-time triage, prioritization, and monitoring of this patient to assign priorities based on the severity of patients. I can say more about our solution if anyone is interested. But the main focus of this presentation is to explain how we did our pilots and we're still doing and where. So I can say that it's not about the money, it's not about the investment. The harder part is to have the collaboration with hospitals and understand their needs and build a product that they want to launch in the market. And the reason they want to do that is that to make their daily practice easier, but at the end, hospital administrations want to see specific business KPIs that will save budget. So it's really important to understand the setting where your solution is going to be developed. We are focused in emergency departments and the actors. A huge problem in the healthcare domain when you're working with hospitals is that you're selling your product to the administration or to managers, but they will never use the product. The product will be used mainly from doctors. It is related based on the solution, but I think most of solutions are focusing on doctors. A really challenging part is training the actors. It depends on their engagement with technology in general and how they want to change the daily practice. We listen a lot of comments from doctors regarding AI prediction. How is possible this thing to predict what this patient will face in the next steps, and I cannot. It's really important to have physical access to the pilot site. It's never enough to visit once the place, the pilot site, and then have their remote monitoring. Also, we mentioned about the technologies and, of course, prior installation if something should be installed. So we mentioned already the 2 points. I would like also to mention again the credibility. It's not easy for us to approach hospital managers to explain what EMA does and how they will make their emergency department's workflow better. So inside Greece, as I mentioned before, we had the connections, and it was easier to approach hospitals. Also a comment, not related. Also, as Greek founders, we understand that Greek VCs were willing 100% to talk to us just to find out what we are doing. And this is not the case on European angel investors and VCs. And also regarding hospitals, we had discussions with one Estonian hospital and one UK hospital. It's the Leeds Teaching Hospital. So there the credibility was the part that in order to have the first meeting, they wanted to understand your background and how is possible a small startup from Greece to change in an optimized way emergency department workflows. Yes, and to close my presentation, of course, I said money is not a major issue, but is an issue. So we think that the best way to proceed is a research project with specific hospitals, with the actors that will use your product. They should design the product. So research project is it's the best starting point. Regarding the pilots, you should define specific KPIs that affect the hospital's budgets. You should calculate the budget that these hospitals will save. This is let's say, our understanding. And of course, own funds or private investment is always a good solution, but what we've seen, no angel investor, neither venture capital will invest to do a pilot. They want to see the traction. They want to see that you've done the pilot and you prove these KPIs. So yeah, that was in brief. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, Alex, it's kind of not the thing that we would like to hear, that VCs and investors wouldn't want to invest in such early stage pilots, but we had it in our mind. We were considering that. At least we found out that some hospitals might be, interested in funding some early pilots, that there are services, and that, for example, really high added value services will be offered through the TEF Health, through EIT Health programs, and through the bringing in the discussion all the players through the marketplaces that Maria discussed, and other opportunities. So there is a question. Well, great initiative, Alexis. Do you have a methodology for the data verification is the question. Quite technical regarding to what we said.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'm getting the question. I suppose that the question is related how we designed the AI system to predict this outcome, how we found the data set.
Okay, if Ms. Tana wants to reshape the question and make it a bit more to the point, so that you can reply, we can give the question back to you again. So in order, we can come back to the discussion if we have more time, but I would like to now show you where some funding is at least available. And well, I cannot think of anyone better to do that than our national contact point, Dr. Xesfigi. Hi, hello, Sophia. It is the last presentation, but it is what we do here at EKT. We put ourselves in the end on the presentations of such events. But I think for those who stayed, you'll see what is available out there and how directly or indirectly you can benefit from the participation in Horizon. So, Sophia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I know it's getting late, so probably it's close to lunchtime, so I will try to be as short as possible. So as George said, thank you for the invitation. First of all, I'm Sophia. I'm the National Contact Point for Horizon Europe for the Cluster Health and the Cancer Mission, managing here those two NCP-related projects, and also I've been elected as a chair for the EN sector group of health. I will skip a big part of my presentation with definitions and everything, because I know you will get the definitions and the slides right after the event. I just want to mention that Horizon Europe is the EU key funding program for research and innovation, as you know, with a total budget of almost 95 billion euros for the years from 2021 to 2027. Among those all projects, you can participate with several types of actions. Three are the main ones: the research and innovation actions, the innovation actions, the coordination and support actions, and the fourth new one is the co-fund action. You can see that for the cluster health, more than 8.5 billion euros have been given to these main areas of intervention. And you probably already understood that cluster health and the healthcare sector in general is among the more complex ones. So you can see all the directive and directorates and authorities that have been jointly designed this cluster. 6 destinations. I will skip it. You will see the open calls right after. Destination 3 has 2 open calls. Destination 6, 2 as well, and Destination 5 only 1. Typically, all calls topics are 2 stages, meaning that the first stage is already done. You have missed probably the deadline. And now these 5 are the only open ones, so you can apply to any one of these. I chose 2 of them because I think that they are more related to the startups, let's say, structure or the industry level. The first one is the bioprinting of living cells for regenerative medicine. You can see that there are several guidelines that are being presented within the work program of Horizon Europe, meaning that you have already available the expected outcomes that you have to fulfill during and writing your own proposal. You have to be extra careful for the letters. I'm highlighting in different colors because the majority of the proposals are failing because they have, for example, missed to comply with one of those bullets. Some calls are within the expected outcomes. You need to contribute to several of the following elements presented here and address most of the following elements within the scope of the call. There are other calls that you have to comply and address all of the elements presented. As long as you will get the slides, I will skip the presentation. The first one is just for the bioprinting of living cells, okay? And the second one is for development methodological frameworks for clinical performance evaluation and post-market clinical performance follow-up of medical devices and in vitro diagnostic medical devices, also known as IVDs. I saw that you have several questions regarding these medical devices regulations in the chat. So we have been preparing a lot of documents within our health NCP network. That are all available in the toolkit. I'm going to show you in the website of our project. And you can come to us, of course, for any queries that are remaining there. I'm moving to Cancer Mission. I'm guessing you are familiar with it. It's one of 5 EU missions, and its targets by 2030 is in general to save more than 3 million lives, and for the patients, their family, etc. I'm moving fast, okay? George is okay?
Yes, okay. Take your time a little bit, but I think it's interesting, very interesting so far. And do people also the potential proposers understand that the previous calls that you showed are collaborative? They have to participate in consortia, and then indirectly they will also mature their and increase their know-how. And in those cases that you showed, you selected them specifically because they could provide other kind of benefits rather than also solving the European Commission's challenges within the consortium. They can provide also benefits and innovation spillovers for you, for your own also. Innovation.
Yes, of course. SMEs, startups, enterprises, small, medium, no matter their size, they can participate in all Horizon Europe calls. Those two I presented before is the ones, according to my opinion, that the more close to the the scope and then the structure of a startup, because they have to somehow create, develop, and actually make use right after the call of a technology solution that can benefit, the startup can benefit itself. I will give you now the highlights of the 2 NCP-related networks that we have. The first one is the HNN3, the network of national contact points in the area of health, which is actually enhancing the transnational cooperation between NCPs for all EU member states and associated countries. The aim here is to harmonize and improve the quality and variety of services that we provide in order to achieve a stable level of support between all applicants. You can see our website right on the left. And the second project is ECHOS, which is actually a new project. It started 4 or 5 months ago, aims to set the foundation for the creation of a future European network of national cancer mission hubs. There are a lot of countries with cancer mission hubs, a lot of countries that they do not have these cancer mission hubs, and we're trying to somehow harmonize the level of each country within Europe and across. Why participating? Because you can benefit from the services that we're providing as a network. For example, you can get to all events as long as you are under the hub of ECHOS. You can use the infrastructures of other partners or within the same country or across Europe to, for example, pilot your study or participate in several clinical trials. Now, you can use the website of HNN3 to find all open calls. We have been gathering everything that you can find, for example, the funding and tenders portal, in several other initiatives, health-related or not, within, of course, Cluster 1 Health and the Cancer Mission. If you do that, you'll get a type of calendar where all forthcoming and open calls are there. You can also use, as I said, the funding and tenders portal. The most important is to use us, the NCPs, get enlisted to our mailing list for newsletter and participate in our brokerage events. I will briefly, really briefly, talk to you about the European partnerships that are also an opportunity for you to be part of funding grants, projects, whatever. There are three types of European partnerships: the institutionalized ones, the co-funded ones, and the co-programmed ones. You can see them all there. Within the scope of Horizon Europe, there are there are 49 European partnerships. This is the image of all partnerships and how they do go across several pillars. And whatever comes to do with health, there are 9 of them: 2 institutionalized, 6 co-funded, and 1 co-programmed. The HNI, for example, the ADCTV3, which stands for clinical trials, they have no open calls right now, but the once per year or even twice per year, they do run their calls. So we got all the information. We have been signed the MOUs, and we give you all the tips and tricks that you need to know in order to get funded. Some examples are here about the solutions they are looking for. I give you also the link to find everything you need to know about all partnerships and how to get involved with this. And I think that the most important for you and the main topic of interest for you is how to get financial support within the cascade funding, which is actually a mechanism, a European Commission mechanism to distribute public funding in order to assist the industry, such as startups, scale-ups, or even SMEs in the uptake or development of digital innovation. The aim here is to simplify the administrative procedures and create a light and SME-friendly application scheme. Unfortunately, now that we're speaking, there are only 3 cascade funds that are open, and actually the first one is closing the day after tomorrow. But you can address them, you can search the 2 of them, the last of them, and contact us for whatever you may need. Usually you can get up to 150,000, starting from 50,000. And it's an easy way for you to not only develop a solution, but actually gain it and use it within your industry. And although Carlos has already mentioned the PCP and PPIs and got some information from George in the chat, I want to just briefly explain the difference between the 2 of them. Pre-commercial procurement, which stands for PCP, actually challenges the industry from the demand side in order to develop innovative solutions for public sector needs. And this is a way that enables the public procurers to compare all the alternative potential solutions and choose the best one that the market can deliver to address its needs. On the other hand, public procurement of innovative solutions, which stands for PPI, happens when the public sector actually uses its purchasing power to act as early adopter of these innovative solutions, which of course are not yet available on large scale on the market. Although it's confusing sometimes to understand between those 2, you can see that between them there is a complementarity. The PCP covers the first 3 phases of solution design, prototype development, and testing. Okay, and the PPI actually comes into phase 4 and for the deployment of the commercial volumes and the end products. There are more than 263 million euros for funding opportunities in several fields. Among them, of course, is health. What you need to know also is that public procurers can also propose themselves to implement PCPs in any call of the Horizon Europe Research and Innovation Action, as long as in the work package is the participation of an industry, it's not required. I'll also give you at the bottom of the slide, I give you the link for all available calls that can support PCP and PPIs within the work program of 2023-24.
Sophia, that's what I wanted to say, is that first of all, everyone needs to know that what we're showing here, the PCP and PPI, as you said right now, those are, let's say, instruments of funding provision within Horizon Europe calls. And if you go to the funding and tenders portal and search for specific calls, either in health or agro-food, everywhere, but specifically here in health, you will see that there are a variety of calls, other related to co-programmed opportunities, other typically coming from cluster 1, others from cancer missions, and there are some that are implementing this scheme, PCP and PPI. And when you see this means that this project will be the project that we propose and we will run if you get granted. Will be more complicated, but it will be quite closer to the market. This project that you will run if you get funded and if it's PCP and PPI will be something like 10 hospitals coming all together, deciding, finding their needs, and then doing a PCP competition to find innovative or research, let's say, services. Something earlier you said, because it's PCP is before PPI, I guess. And then with the open call, they will bring inside the consortium, and it's not inside the consortium, but inside their premises, the innovative solution providers through the open call. And in some cases, this open call goes to the Prometheus system of each country. In order to do this Horizon Europe call, you combine it with the typical procurement and tendering processes in some cases. We have video presentations of 2 years ago in EKT that are describing analytically the PCP and PPI process, which are kind of complicating. And again, sorry for the interruption, Sophia. I find it very, very interesting.
Also, in order to support your comment, the following slide can give you, I don't know why not, it's not, okay. You can get some kind of examples here when the whole procedure of PCPs, how national PCPs have been turning to funded PPIs, where the link here is. The only thing you need to understand is that the first one is covering solution design, prototype development, testing and installation, as I already said. And the second phase of PPIs is covering the wider diffusion of solutions across different customer and markets. For example, there is a PCP from a Norwegian government resulted in deploying one of the world's first and largest full-scale carbon capture. And on the other hand, PCP from Danish hospitals with a Danish startup that was participated and grew into a unicorn, employed disinfection robots that kill 99% of all viruses. You can get the whole idea if you read the stories there, where I give you the more examples. Here is just a slide of giving you again the holistic picture of the potential synergies you can come across the health sector. Within the Horizon Europe program, the European Commission always try to find the coherence, complementarity between all these possibilities of synergies. And my last role, as I also already said, is that I've been currently elected as a chair of the health of the sector group of health for the Enterprise Europe Network. Also, George is the co-chair of the sector group Digital, which actually means that we have the opportunity of direct communications with all, in my case, health advisors across 66 countries. So we can get you in direct networking with international partners that you probably are looking for in order to participate in the relevant project grants funds. We've been also publishing a catalog of all active health profiles. We're doing this twice per year, so all profiles are available. The only thing you need to do is become part of our clients and create your own profile, participate in brokerage event, and connect with peers by getting direct information from us. Finally, I want to just show you 2 slides of how Greece is doing. You can see here that within Horizon Europe, we're doing quite better than we used to before. Whatever has to do with our ranking, we stand 7th out of 27 countries based on the participation of in all clusters of Horizon Europe. Whenever it comes to health, we stand at the 8th position with more than 75 signed grants, absorbing more than 82 million euros from net EU contribution, and we have more than 162 organizations participating in all these calls. You can see also the keywords that appear the most in all proposals that have been turned to projects, such as public environmental health, cancer, policy, cybersecurity, inequalities, promotion, medical devices, of course, etc. And for whatever you need in the health care domain, you can reach me or even George, of course, and I will be more than happy to help you.
Thank you very much, Sophia. And I think we gave as much as a comprehensive presentation and talk anyone could give. Hope that you found it interesting, and we're going to be circulating the presentations you saw today amongst the speakers and panelists, and of course towards the attendees. So probably the contact details of the speakers are there in the presentations, and you will be able to maybe contact them if possible. And I don't know, I want to ask for Beata and Eva to say a few words if they want at the closing. So Beata, since you haven't spoken today, how did you find the event?
Thank you, George, for giving me the word, and thank you for everyone being here today. I think that inbound innovation is a very important topic, and this event was very valuable and very special from the most important approach. So how startups and how actors, hospitals can get other resources, how they can get funding to inbound collaborations. So thank you very much for that, because it was a very detailed insight into this topic.
Thank you very much, Beata, and for all the support. And Eva?
Thank you, everyone. I can agree with Beata. I think this event shows that there are many angles to that problem or challenge, and it also goes to show that there are also possible solutions with the stakeholders with the right mindset. So we just have to keep looking for those and start the collaboration for those who want to do something to show the rest that the change is possible. So thank you for also inviting those who are on that side of this stage.
Thank you all for staying here for almost 3 hours, actually 3 hours. And Ion, did you find it interesting? And thanks again for inviting me in Romania. Next year, we will try to have you here and make a physical event.
Yes, it's always good to connect with another ecosystem and to see how the same challenges are similar or sometimes different. And it's very good to have the perspectives of all the stakeholders, and also to be challenged, because due to your topic of the presentation you proposed, I was able to discover opportunities in our own ecosystem. So thank you very much for pushing us forward as well.
Thank you for everything, Ion, and for all the things that you're doing for the European ecosystem and the Romanian ecosystem. And Ricardo, I think it's the start of a new collaboration here, and you have to reach a huge amount of potential beneficiaries for your very, very interesting project. And well, thanks for being here, and any comments are welcome.
Yeah, sure. So thank you very much once again for the invitation. It was a great opportunity to hear to meet all of you. I'm certainly beyond TEF. I'll be much more than willing to participate in all these different things and all these different discussions. On the hospital side, I do keep this in mind that we don't just need money. We need kind of organization, and this kind of events. It's just what it makes the structure out of it, and will channel things to happen. Like Eva was saying, I think I totally agree. Also money, of course, but we need these things to really be built from this kind of discussions that we had here. Thank you very much for all.
Thank you. And well, Maria, we keep exchanging speakers for our events. This is how collaboration is happening usually.
No, it was very insightful today. Thank you for having me here. It was my first health morning talk. I really enjoyed hearing all of you and kind of discussing with you. I'm thankful also for the comments because, you know, from what I read, people who were here today found it insightful as well. So thanks a lot to all of you who organized it.
And George, I think, I mean, Deloitte is following the trends, and it's, I mean, close to the future of what we need to succeed. But I hope you also found the workshop interesting and you also learned something here, but because we learned a lot from you as well.
Definitely. I think it was really interesting to see the different points of view, to see how the ecosystem interacts, what are the key challenges from all the different lenses that were incorporated in our discussion so far. At least myself within Deloitte typically work with large corporations, local affiliates of multinational pharma companies. And the important thing is to see how they can act as integrators, as facilitators in the broader ecosystem, and how they can contribute to smaller companies that will drive innovation going forward, though. So I see a huge opportunity here, and thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, George. And Alexis, did you learn anything new, or you knew all of it since you've been to 100 million Speaks Accelerator programs, prizes, awards?
No, of course, always we are listening to new ideas and we're learning things. It was great to be here and make new connections and listen to your presentation. I hope that in the future we can organize similar events, mentioning the problems that health tech startups are facing despite funding, but VC funding also. It will be a great session for Greek startups, I think.
Thank you very much. And I guess, Sophia, also a huge part of the burden falls on you as the NCP for all kinds of health issues and health, not issues, actually, health funding issues. Well, what do you think are, let's say, startups and hospital collaborations available to find funding from Horizon Europe as well?
Of course they can. They only need to try it. You know that my motto within these opportunities is world collaboration and synergies. You can, if you not try it, you'll sure get lost. And thank you for the invitation as well, for giving me the opportunity to spend my 14th birthday with you all.
I wanted to say that, and I kept forgetting that. Happy birthday to you, Sophia.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So when I say Horizon Europe, I also include EIT Health in some parts because we try to make a seamless pipeline. So we have a variety of programs there to start and take you and lift you up and then take you to the market or to the VCs. Thank you again, everybody, for being here. I hope I didn't forget anyone. And see you on the next event, which will be around December, where we'll discuss all the open calls of EIT Health.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.